Hey up YouTube, just want to do a real quick one today. Obviously it's a Wednesday video, so the idea is it's quick. I'm just going to record some B-roll and probably talk over it as with the jobs for May. I realised I didn't actually do a looking forward to April, but with everything that went on, I just never genuinely got round to it. There's a couple of jobs I'm going to do today. There's one thing that's going to look like I'm spraying herbicide on my vegetables, but I'm not. I use something called neem oil. Now, I know a lot of people are going to jump on the bandwagon saying that neem oil isn't approved for insecticide usage, and they're right, it isn't. But then neither is washing up liquid, or God, I've seen people saying spray salty water. Yeah, that's fine if you want to sterilise your soil. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to be. I just wanted to address that me spraying isn't herbicide. It's neem oil. It is an organic product. It's not meant to be for herbicides. It's meant to be to help. It's meant to be for horses, I believe. Something to do with horses. You put it on their fur and it deters flies. But it works equally well on your veg and doesn't affect them. So anyway, I'm going to be doing some spraying today. I'm going to be doing some tidying. I'm going to be hopefully getting ready to put some more fencing up, and sort of finally finishing the other fencing that I have put up. Not the wood fencing, the wire fencing. I can't get the wood anymore. I'm hopefully going to get the IBC moved in preparation for this finally turned up. In preparation for setting up the DC motor or DC pumps. Yeah, in preparation of setting those guys up with regards to irrigating the greenhouse and polytunnel this year. My plans are actually to get a second pump just in case it's not powerful enough. But yeah, I'm going to get the IBC, hopefully get the IBC tank moved today, get the thing ready for the fencing. The fencing's going to go on when me and Mrs. Shed can come down, because I want to get it nice and taut, and trying to do that as one person is now impossible. So anyway, the rest of the video is going to be me talking over me doing jobs, but the talking over is going to be the looking forward to April. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'll see you in a bit. Good morning, YouTube. Hey YouTube, as you can see, not down the plot anymore. I had my time lapse set up wrong, so you've seen the time lapse now that I was going to talk over, and it was very short. So I'm having to interject from home. Not what I wanted to do, but we're okay. So what I'm going to quickly run you through is your jobs for May, really. I'm going to do this brief because this is actually going to be the topic of my next live stream, which is going to either be the first or second weekend in May. I'm not too sure. Where are we? I'll tell you what, let's lock this in. I'm going to go live this weekend. It'll probably be from home. I can't go live from down on the allotment for two reasons, obviously. One is lockdown. Two is the missus's phone that I usually use down on the plot, because she has unlimited data. She's at work, and I don't like sending her to work with my phone, and I don't like leaving her without a phone, because, you know, if someone needs to get hold of me and, you know, her, and anyway, whole world of pain in the backside. So we're going to quickly go over jobs for May, my little notebook here. So very brief. Harvesting. You start to get your harvests now of asparagus. If you grow them, baby globe artichokes, something I'm going to look at growing perhaps next year. Early turnips. You can harvest your garlic now if you like it, as they call it, green. Just means it's not sort of a fully swollen bulb. You can use the tops at this point. It's an entirely different vegetable, really. It's used more like a large spring onion, but with a very garlicky taste. And your oriental salad leaves, I know last year I grew Wongbok oriental cabbage. That was actually going in now, but mustard greens, pak choi, if you had that in early, that can be coming off now. To sow now, really you don't need to sow indoors anymore in May. The weather is mild for most of us. If you're up north, you can still be using your cold frames. There is still nothing wrong with using your windowsills, guys, if you want to. But you're sowing now, really, you should be looking at sort of your second sowings, to give you a bit of a clue as to what I'm sowing in May. I'll be doing my second sowing of beetroot. I've just done my second sowings of cucumbers. If I can get some seeds, I'm doing a second sowing of sweet corn. And I've literally just done my second sowing of French beans. And they're all in the greenhouse. Direct sowing, if you do that, I do everything modular. But direct sowing, really, you can do all varieties of cabbages. I sowed mine and they all failed, so I've got some more cabbage seeds on order. Your Brussels sprouts, your broccolis, carrots can still be sown now, collies, what else am I sowing now? Kohlrabi, peas. Yes, you can do your second sowing of peas now if you want, or if you haven't got any out, you're not too late. Salad leaves, you know, all year round for me, depending on your varieties. So really, that's a recurring theme every month. Spinaches, I'm going to do my second sowing this weekend. Your sprouting broccolis, your calabrese I've already mentioned. Second sowings of turnips, I need to do mine actually. And second sowings of swede, which I actually did about a week ago. Is there anything else I've got in my notes here that I sowed last year but I'm not sowing again this year. Radishes, second sowing. Kales you can do now, you're not too late for kales. Things like that. You're going to hear a lot of YouTubers talk about hardening off. I'm very quickly going to talk about what hardening off is. It's the process of taking a seedling or a plant that you've either grown in a heated greenhouse or just a really warm greenhouse, inside, on your windowsills, things like that, things that have been really well protected from breezes and winds and the cold. What hardening off is, it's the process whereby every day, ideally, over the course of about 7 to 10 working days, God, you can tell I'm used to being in an office, can't you? Over the course of 7 to 10 days, you put it out. So you get up in the morning, before you put the kettle on, you put your plants outside on a table or just on the patio or wall or in the garden or anything like that. Even just opening your greenhouse door. Depending on obviously what you've got in there, don't risk other plants. But your seedlings that are ready to go out, you open your greenhouse door, you put them out on the tables, whatever, excuse me, and you leave them out there for an hour on day 1. Day 2, repeat for an hour longer. Day 3, so on and so forth, until they're out for the entire day. And that hardens the plants off, gets them exposed to breezes, gets them exposed to cooler temperatures, rain, things like that. And it helps your plants be stronger and be ready to be planted out. May really is your last chance to be putting out your seed potatoes, your main crop seed potatoes, your first earlies, second earlies. Sorry, your opportunity is gone on those. May, you're really looking at your main crop and lates really. And then obviously we'll revisit that in August with Christmas potatoes. Keep it peeled. I think I've got something coming up with grow seed from that. I don't know yet because he's having a real tough time at the moment. I don't think that's worth mentioning. Weeds. Now then, this is where a lot of new allotmenters sort of trip up and go, oh crap, there's a lot of work here. There is a lot of work on an allotment, guys. May is when the weeds will try and take over. Keep on top of them, that's all I can say. The moment you don't weed is the moment the weeds go, hey, party time, and they'll go absolutely ballistic. Pull every little weed you can find. If you've got beds, do as I do and focus on one bed at a time. If you've got a big outdoor area, just hoe them off, rake them off, just rake quickly every time you're there. Just give everything a quick rake over or a hoeing over, and you'll stop those seeds from establishing. Your tough perennials, your daffodils, your dock leaves, your thistles, your mare's tail, dig as much of that as you can out. Obviously all of those, if you leave a little bit of rooting, they are going to come back. But just do the best you can. Honestly, it's hard work now, but once you're on top of everything and once you've got rid of the majority of those perennials, life will be so much easier, guys. So please try and get as much of those weeds out as possible. We've done things that I'm sowing in May. Also on the topic of getting on top of things, your fruit bushes now, specifically your cherries, your grapes if you've got them outside, your kiwis, your gooseberries, your red currants, your black currants, your nut bushes if you've got any. You need to start netting them and protecting them from birds if you don't grow them inside a protected area. You will find one day you'll have a lovely tree full of cherries, the next day and you'll go, oh, I'm going to harvest them tomorrow, they need a little bit longer. By the time you come to them, trust me, the birds have seen they're ready before you and they will strip the lot. Especially sort of pigeons. There'll be nothing, guys. So take the time. I will be getting some more scaffold netting. You can't beat it, honestly. Get some scaffold netting, get those trees protected. Otherwise, all that lovely foliage that then turned into flowers, that's then set fruit, you'll lose it, guys. So get it netted up. Also, if you're ahead with your peas and they're out and your peas are starting to flower, you need those netting if you're bothered about Pea Maggot, which is a little maggot, and what happens is the insect comes along, lays its eggs inside the flower that then develops inside the pod, and it then eats your pea. And you know, if you're like me and you eat peas, you know, whole, you won't notice. It's a bit of protein in it, I suppose, but if that makes you a bit squeamish, you need to net your peas. Now, really, if you're ahead with your peas, you'll hear lots of talks of things like catch crops, intercrops. What's the other term? It's completely left me. So things like your slow growing crops. So if you're setting cabbages outdoors now, you know, you've got 1 to 2 feet between rows depending on your varieties. There is no harm in setting a row of beetroot, a row of radish in between the rows of the cabbages, for example. They will be up and out before the cabbages even notice they're there. So things like radish are good for a catch crop, spinach, beetroot, even carrots. Really, you could even do a short season carrot or an early carrot, like a Chantenay, or I'm trying to think of the other variety. It's left me. But you can sow them in between slow growing crops such as cabbages, parsnips, kales, cauliflowers, your brassicas really that are going to be coming out autumn winter. You can intercrop them with fast things that take 6 to 8 weeks, such as, like I said, radishes, spinaches, things like that. Plants that you can be planting out now, so things you should have started really at the start of April. Your aubergines, your chilies, Brussels sprouts, cabbages, cauliflowers, celeriac, kohlrabi, mine's already out. Courgettes, I've had a failure, so I've had to order some more seeds, so hopefully they'll catch up. Pumpkins, I've just sown mine, they will catch up. Cucumbers, if you plant them outside in May, I would leave it towards the back end. Where I am in the country, we still run a frost risk in May, so mine will be towards the back end of May. You can plant out your tomatoes in May, things like that, in your greenhouses. I wouldn't sow them outside in May. If I did have to sow them outside in May, bottle cloches, things like that, help protect them from frost. But guys, May is a busy month. I'm going to leave it there because otherwise I'm going to have nothing to talk about in my live stream. So I'm going to be going live Saturday 8 PM. I'm going to hand back over to the big guy on the plot with his ass out all the time. Don't worry if you're not interested, guys. It's just me talking about what I did actually to fit the IBC together and why it's wrapped in plastic and things like that, guys. So without further ado, back over to him. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're not going stir crazy staying indoors. I feel for the guys that don't have the opportunity to get out. I really do. My heart goes out to you. Thank you to all the key workers, delivery drivers, NHS staff, care staff, supermarket workers. Guys, you're doing a great job. I know there are people out there that are a bit of a pain in the backside. Bear with it, guys. We're almost through it, I'm sure, or at least I hope. So guys, I'll hand back over. I'll see you Saturday night, 8 PM GMT. Join me, let's have a chat. Let's run through what you're doing in May, what I'm going to be doing in May. For you new growers, there's me, there's other experienced growers that come into the chats. We have arborists, we have horticulturalists, if they turn up. So you come along, it's not just questions for me, you can ask them questions. We bounce ideas off each other. We come up with some great stuff, guys. So Saturday night, 8 PM, once a month. Generally it's either the first or the last weekend of the month, but I always advertise on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and I'll tell you in my videos leading up to it, guys. So until next time, I'll see you later. Well, there we go, guys. It was, it's taken me longer than I thought, and in all honesty the base isn't as good as I would like, but it should do. I mean, you have to remember that this is 1,000 litres of water. And if you remember your high school stuff, or your secondary school stuff in our case, what's 1,000 litres of water? It's a metric ton, literally. So I've got concrete blocks, steel posts, and then a pallet on top of all that. There is some support in the middle as well. I'm not sure if the time lapse will have picked up on all that. I'm just putting a little bit of water in it. The intention is to bring that round and down to it. But I'm just putting a little bit of water in it just to put some weight in it, and just to settle it a bit. I'm not going to fill it, but that's it, guys. It's wrapped in about 4 layers of black plastic, and all I've done really is I've cut it to length, and then I've just used some garden wire just to secure it. Because I mean, once the tank's full, it's going to be pressing up against this plastic, so it ain't going to go anywhere. I'm just going to let it fill up. Just going to have a breather 5 minutes. This took me a lot longer than I envisaged it would. So I'm just going to have a breather. I'm going to make something wooden to go on the top, but still give me access to that. I might just come off the back of the shed and have an angled piece. Maybe gather some more water that way. I don't know. But yeah, just gonna let it fill with some water, let it settle, and then I'll check it again in a day or two. So if it's shifted, if it hasn't shifted in a day or two, once it's gathered some water in it, it ain't gonna go anywhere. So happy days. I mean, if it does go anywhere, it's either gonna come off left or right. If it goes left, it's just gonna go into the side of the shed, and that shed ain't going anywhere. If it goes this way, all it's gonna do is tip over. It's not gonna hurt anything. As you probably saw in the time lapse, there's nothing but junk back here. One of the next projects is to clear all this out. I mean, most of this junk was inherited. Yes, I've added to it, but most of it was inherited, so it's all to come out. I'm just going to use some of that wood down there to make a lid for the top of this. So guys, that's that. I mean, that's taken me best part of 3 hours, so I'm going to have a breather. I might sow a few seeds, and you can see the back of my greenhouse now. All that lovely glazing work I did. And then I'm going to sow some seeds, have a breather, and then I might call it a day. We'll see how it goes. I do want to prep the work for the fence, because the quicker that fence gets up, the quicker I get extra pairs of hands, and I'm not on my lonesome down here. I get to come down with the family again, which is what it was all about in the first place. So I'll probably see you in a bit, guys.